Jesus starts preaching morally, it's already an immediate debate exactly what it was he was claiming to be and claiming to do. But at some point, this man who went around sort of performing miracles and gaining followers, who then, on some accounts, is crucified and then seen by his followers, has risen again, becomes identified with Yahweh, with this Israelite God. How does that happen?
So it's a great question. We're still very much in the midst of trying to sort out exactly how it is that the Jesus movement developed at all. But it seems that Jesus was some kind of apocalyptic prophet, and he probably preached for about a year before he was executed, probably less than a year. I think most scholars now say probably less than a year. He entered Jerusalem, caused a riot, and was executed because he's probably one of a dozen Jewish rebels executed during that time period for causing a riot during Passover. So what happens? There's a lot of debate. I think what seems to make the most sense to me is that Paul has some kind of mystical vision. He's probably involved in the semi-official, quasi-official persecution of Christians, or what we might call followers of the Jesus movement. He has some kind of vision. I suspect he was what we call a Merkava mystic. There's evidence from that from 2 Corinthians that he's having sort of out-of-body experiences. He's going into the heavens. There's a form of mysticism called Merkava mysticism that was pretty typical among Jewish, not typical. It was one of the forms of Jewish mysticism associated with apocalypticism. And it seems that Paul goes into the heavens in a mystical experience, and he sees the euhemerized, apotheosized Jesus. And we know that Paul believed that physical bodies could be transformed into something like angelic bodies. And we think that Jesus managed to accomplish this. And Paul seems to believe that because Jesus has accomplished it, we can all accomplish it, and we can all go live in glorified bodies forever after we die. And that Jesus sort of led the way. I think that's the earliest forms of the Pauline theology. Well, I think what ends up emerging in this is that already in Judaism at the time, there was an emergent theology, heretical theology called what we now refer to as Jewish bitheism, or the so-called two powers in heaven, where there was already the idea that there was some kind of Deus absconditus, some kind of God beyond all knowing,